The views and opinions expressed do not necessarily represent those of Access Fort Wayne, the Allen County Public Library, or any other supporting group. If you or anyone you know might be interested in making a television show, please call 260-421-1250. Access Fort Wayne is a department of the Allen County Public Library.
I just need one more chance to prove my love to you. And if you come back to me, I'll guarantee that I'll never let you go. Ooh, can we go back to the ways? Yeah. Can somebody tell me how to get things back the way they used to be? Sing it. Oh God, give me the reason I'm down on bended knee. Ladies and gentlemen, your host and producer of A Dose of Landis, Mr. Jeff Landis.
Man, the more I keep looking back at that, man, I never thought that I'd have a Boyz II Men member actually introduce my show. And what's crazy is I had Juan A. Morris I was doing during the COVID era. I called it. But anyways, I was trying to cause controversy. I was going to sell my Landis Entertainment and my whole video library and stuff like that. And then Juan A. Morris of Boyz II Men was like, hey, I'm the new owner of Landis Entertainment. And he's like, just kidding. And he wished me a 26-year anniversary, and that was a couple years ago. Anyways, yeah, Sean Stockman of Boyz II Men, thank you very much for that. All the time I look at that, I'm like, I can't believe this is happening. But anyways, my special guest this evening, I think he's been on the show before, plenty of times, twice. Well, 3 times Wesley's show. The A&E's reality star from Inmate 2 Roommate, Bill Still. How's it going? William Still, a.k.a. Bill. How's it going, man?
I'm doing great, man. Thank you for having me back. I appreciate it. And that's a hell of an intro right there, this famous song singer.
Well, the thing is that Boyz II Men's been my favorite group ever since I was a teenager. And like I said before, talking to you before this, you were asking me about stuff
Right.
about that. They're actually my dream interview.
Oh.
So I've talked to their agent a couple times, and one of them was like, oh, yeah, we'll work something out. Then again, you know how it is in entertainment. You go through all kinds of agents, and then one agent was like, no, they don't have enough time. And so that was my only way of getting them on. A Dose of Landis was doing cameo videos. But again, like I said, it's my video. I can do what I want with it.
You got to do it Geraldo Rivera style. Just do the ambush interviews, find out where they live or where they're recording.
Oh, no.
I'm not a stalker, I swear. Just want an interview.
I believe in having respect when you interview people. But again, there are some people that's crazy and that's like that. But, yeah. Again, me and you got connected through Wesley Pollard, which is doing camera. So
Wesley,
tell a little bit
thank
of people about what you do and how you ended up writing books and then on the show Inmate 2 Roommate.
Well, again, just to go over real briefly, I'm from Brooklyn, New York, and I was a locksmith and alarm technician, and my mother was mentally ill, and I wanted to defend women and children and be a good guy and do a lot of good things for society, maybe work for the CIA or something, and I wanted to be one of these Mission Impossible James Bond types. And so I learned all these skills about how to open safes and vaults and locks and defeat alarm systems, and I went to school for that, and I was in real estate as well. But in the middle of all this, my best friend died in a car accident. I got around some people that were doing a lot of coke, and I tried some coke to self-medicate the grief that I was going through. And though I don't drink or smoke weed or anything, I got pretty hooked on the coke. And so there went years of cocaine addiction, years of incarceration. The latest one was over 18 years in prison for nonviolent crimes. And during the latest incarceration, I began taking some college courses, writing books about my life and about some of the very notorious or now infamous people that I've met along the way. So I've only been out after 18 years, just a little over a year now. And just before my release, there was a COVID pandemic at the prison. People were dying everywhere. I didn't think that I would make it out alive because they didn't really care too much about taking care of us properly or, and society in general, basically politicized, what to do about a disease, which is science. It's not politics. But so the inmates at the short end of the totem pole, and my prayers to everybody who, lost a loved one during COVID, including we have family members that we lost. But so I didn't think I'd make it out, and so I got really assertive and aggressive during this time of COVID to finish up and polish up my manuscripts, and finished up some college courses, and just hoped I'd make it out alive. And well, shortly before my release, I was offered a TV show on A&E Network through Sharp Entertainment, and thank you for the opportunity, A&E. Thank you, Sharp Entertainment. And it was really a look at recidivism and how somebody not going home to a family member does after coming out of prison. And does that lead to higher rates of recidivism? That's how the show was couched, as a docuseries studying recidivism, return rates to prison, and what affects that. So having been a law clerk, I was right up my alley. I was like, hey, I like helping people, and I'm writing books to try to help people. Maybe this would shed some light on that. And we quickly found out that this is a reality show, and it was docuseries / reality show, and it was me who had a falling out with family in New York over an inheritance when I was incarcerated. A significant amount of money was stolen from me, and so I decided not to be around family when I got out, and I moved to the Midwest, to Elkhart, Indiana, and lived with a pen pal. And this lady, who's on the show with me, I didn't know she had a crush on me. And so this whole show is a dynamic in that house of me. They're very strict Seventh-day Adventist. I'm a Christian guy, but I'm not perfect. I'm from New York. I'll curse once in a while. I'm not perfect. I get loud, as people close to me know, occasionally, because I guess a little Sicilian blood, or whatever, maybe a bad attitude sometimes. Which I don't mean, but it's just. It's the way I express myself at times. And so these people were like holier than thou, better than everybody. And then on top of that, the crush. And then I was engaged to Mary, Dr. Mary Bass, who's in the studio with us today. And she's a forensic accountant and a civilian fraud examiner. And she fell in love with me by reading one of the books I wrote, because it's victim advocacy. It's standing up for the victims of Robert Durst. And I was living with this couple to get on my feet after 18 years of nothing. I escaped from prison. I was in lockdown for 4 years, solitary confinement. I was in lockdown for another year and a half, because then when COVID came around, they had locked the prison down. So, I gained a lot of weight because of being locked down so long. And so I just came out a mess, But from the second, because I agreed to do the show, from the second I exited the prison, cameras everywhere. Essentially 24/7, monitoring everything I did, my first meal, my first comment on the people around me, of traffic, of fresh air in my face, and so I can't give away too much about the show, but Inmate to Roommate on A&E Network blew up to be, I think came out to be like the second most popular reality show in the country.
Wow!
And my name, Bill, you'll see I play Bill on the show, became the most popular character, and probably because there was such a difference between me, kind of sarcastic, very observant, situationally aware New Yorker, to these two people from the Midwest, who most people out here are wonderful human beings. These people treated me horribly.
They were different.
I couldn't have a TV. I couldn't watch an R-rated movie if I had one. I wasn't allowed to have the internet. I wasn't allowed to have ice, meat. I couldn't go to any church but theirs. I was trying to go to a non-denominational Christian church, or somewhere where I felt comfortable. And I just controlled and manipulated every aspect, tried to break me and my fiance up. So this show here shows all that, and it's actually very, very funny. I've participated in the filming of the season 1, and then we're rolling into some other things I can't discuss.
Well, I understand about that, yeah.
Right, and so I laughed my ass off watching the footage, because in one scene I'm learning how to drive, and I'm putting the car. I was a getaway driver years ago, so I'm a very good driver, and the guy was having a heart attack about his car, and it was pretty humorous. A lot of things were pretty humorous, and I can find humor in anything, because what's the alternative? I spent 18 years lonely and miserable. I'm not going to come out and be that guy. I don't want to be miserable. I don't want to be depressed.
Because you were already there, yeah.
I could let that experience eat me alive, or I could say, you know what, I'm going to do something positive with it. And that's what I'm doing. I'm writing books. I'm trying to help people. I have a true crime channel now. Please subscribe. Check it out. William Steele, True Crime, on YouTube, Rumble, every social media platform. We're starting a public relations firm here in the next, actually it's started already, Steal the Spotlight Media. So check out Steal the Spotlight Media. Reach out if you need representation to get your story out, if you want to get connected with people with gigantic followings. My show has, as of 2 days ago, 11 million views on TikTok.
Wow.
I personally have millions of fans right now. And having come out of prison and not even knowing really what the internet is or how to use, a smartphone, now I have to use this thing every day. And, imagine learning this after never really having social media. So now I'm using it every day, and I'm a pretty quick study. So I'm going to have my own TV show soon, as you know.
That's me. Awesome.
I've been blessed with access to a studio and a radio studio, and I'm getting a lot of invitations. And in the community we're in now, we're filming some more stuff for my true crime channel. I would like to talk about the books real quick.
Oh, go ahead.
So the first book, written in prison, Section the Serial Killer, My Bizarre Times with Robert Durst, is about the wealthiest serial killer in American history. His family controls a lot of New York City real estate, and it was written by, you'll see it on Amazon or on WilliamSteeleAuthor.com, my site. And my co-author, Gary Greenberg, was the editor, or still is an editor, at the National Enquirer, and he's also a true crime writer. So I wrote that when I was incarcerated. Nancy Grace, as you can see here, Nancy Grace covered this book on her podcast. Wow, she's the queen of true crime.
Oh, yeah.
I'm True Crime King. That's what I've been named recently. And so the queen of true crime covered my book on her podcast, and so it's one of the top-selling true crime books right now.
Yeah, I definitely interested in...
So this other one he wrote, The Beer Diet, Gary is very much into health. He writes true crime, and he wrote this book, and it basically is a tongue-in-cheek way to, and I'm not making any medical claims, for the record, but it's a way to drink all the beer you want and still lose weight. And Gary's a health fanatic. He's fit as heck, and he drinks beer all day long.
Oh, wow.
So he wrote a book about how he does it, and it's called The Beer Diet. Please check this out. Support my friend, my best friend, my co-author, Gary Greenberg. And finally, last but not least, you have this one here about Ghislaine Maxwell. Now, I knew Ghislaine Maxwell and Jeffrey Epstein from Palm Beach years ago, and so this is my experiences with Ghislaine. It's called Ghislaine Sensational and Impure. Now, sensational and impure is what the judge called some of the material in the case. It was too sensational and impure to be released to the public. Well, I was an insider, and I fooled around with her, but there was a lot of other things going on at that house that I did not take part of. But I got out of there as quick as I could, and at one point I barely got out of there with my life. So some of the things I see in this house and some of the videos I saw in that house, this book, I actually named names. And that book's been profiled on the New York Post, the Sun, National Enquirer, all over the place. People are starting to pick up on the book and some of the things I've exposed in that book. I did an interview about this book, and somebody put like a 1 minute or 45-second clip on TikTok of something I said, and it had like 4 million views in 24 hours. Wow. And it was up for like a week, I think, was it, Mary? And then TikTok pulled it down. It's so controversial what I have the proof of in this book that most people have not stopped to consider.
I don't understand that. You write something controversial, but yet true, but yet people tend to want to take that down. I mean, I don't like the society now where everybody gets hurt over the simplest things, especially in entertainment when you're doing something like comedy or whatever. That's comedy right there. Yeah. But you know what I mean? It's like, whatever happened to freedom of speech, it's like now we're limited. I mean, again, how do you feel about that stuff?
I'm new at this, and I don't appreciate that my YouTube channel, if I say the wrong thing or my guest even says the wrong thing, can be taken down. A lot of work goes into building this up, and I'm trying to build it up. Please subscribe. William Steele, True Crime on YouTube. Please subscribe, and like and share it. It's I talk about subjects about crime victims. These books were not written for salacious intent. These were written to shed light on who these characters really were behind the scenes, what Ghislaine Maxwell was, and her plot at one point to try to kill Jeffrey Epstein, which a lot of people are not aware of, that back as long ago as 2005, she had planned to kill him, and she had some support to do it.
Oh, wow.
And that was for self-preservation, because she was probably at that time going to be either hurt or, so all that's in there. The proof's been given to the authorities. They're well aware of this, but a lot of it's suppressed. When you say these platforms, if you talk about this in too much detail on some of those platforms, I have to be careful what words you even use, which is really sickening. I mean, it's really sad. People's life work on there really going after advocating for child victims, and your platform could be taken down. If you speak too hard about given politicians, your platform can be taken down. I don't think it's right as long as you don't incite violence.
Yeah.
I think this whole woke culture thing, I don't know much about it. I was locked up. I think it's like criminalizing lack of respect. Lack of respect, it's always been the case. If you try to say something that incites violence, that's illegal no matter how you do it.
Oh, yeah.
In the book, on a platform, public platform. Anything else, we have free speech.
Yeah.
I can call you whatever I want as long as I don't encourage somebody to hurt you.
Yeah.
And you can call me whatever you want. And they do. My show, I have something they call trolls. I didn't know what the hell a troll was. I'm checking out my fan pages, and I'm like, who the hell is this?
Yeah.
He doesn't know me. And I go to message, private and respond. I said, what's your freaking problem? You think you know me because I'm on TV? And the network's like, no, you can't respond to them. They'll go away on their own. If it gets serious, we'll handle it. We have a whole team in place for that.
Oh, wow.
If anybody bothers you, as a celebrity on our show and this and that. So I'm a hardhead. I'm a New York guy. I want to handle my own problems. And
nothing wrong with that.
yeah, so I learned pretty quick. They said, look, we're really serious. Don't deal with these trolls. Don't respond to them. And so I started just ignoring them. And it's not easy to do because I'm used to seeing people straight up and you can tell each other off and you go your separate ways or whatever. Back in the day, there was different ways to handle things.
Oh, yeah.
I changed my life now. But it's really annoying that some coward in the middle of nowhere can hide behind a keyboard, a 50-year-old guy living in his mother's basement still, and talk crap about me on the internet. You don't know a thing about me. And it's just, you guys might be used to it. You've been out in society. This Facebook and all this stuff didn't exist before I went to prison. So for me, it's like I'm learning all these platforms simultaneously, and all the crappy stuff that's involved with it simultaneously. So I'm having to learn, I'm being offered to be an influencer. Well, what the hell is an influencer? I don't know. Yeah. They don't teach those courses in prison about trolls and influencers and different things you shouldn't do on the internet. So I'm learning the hard way, but I'm learning. Influence is a good thing. I could earn a living doing that.
Oh, yeah.
So, but I didn't know what the hell it meant. Somebody said, hey, we'd like you to be an influencer for our line. And I'm like, I didn't want to embarrass myself and say I didn't know. I had to ask my fiance, I had to look it up. I said, what exactly does that mean? So now I know.
Yeah, again, like I said, you came out to a society where everything's changed a lot, and it's crazy how the world just changes. Like I said, sometimes, like earlier I was talking to Chris, I was like, sometimes when you do a TV show, you're not you can say pretty much what you want, and you won't be taken down from the TV station. But if you go on YouTube and stuff like that, stuff's either copywritten or something like that, they'll take you down like that. But you do something on TV, it's totally different from
it's a little
back
different.
Then. Yeah.
It's just common sense boundaries, man. And there's laws in place.
Yeah.
You don't incite violence in your speech or your written word, and you're fine. That's pretty much it.
Yeah.
If you don't like my faith or I don't like, that's my damn business if you want to say it.
Yeah.
I'm a respectful person. I'm not going to say it. My relationship with God is private. Yours is private. If we attend the same church together, fine. If you want to share it with others or if they ask. But I don't believe in beating somebody over the head with it or judging somebody for their faith or their upbringing and all that. And of course, we all have our own views, but I don't understand how it went from a place like, well, you offended me, go stand in the corner and I'll throw you out of school and I'll shut your business down. And who the hell are you?
Exactly.
Who the hell are you? Somebody who can click up with a bunch of people and you're basically doing nothing with your life and shut down a successful person because they have an opinion? It shouldn't be like that at all. So that's not what this country was founded on. If people don't like it, unfortunately, they need to either change the laws or leave, one of the two, because that's not what this was based on. Free speech as long as you're not inciting violence.
That's very true. I always, back then I used to judge about certain things, but again, I look at a person as a personality and how they are as a person.
That's right.
Because it should always be like that. But again, some people's not like that. Again, like I said, first day I met you, I respected you from day on. And again, like I said, I also want to say thank you very much for just meeting me. Like, I don't know how many months it's been, a couple months, but thank you very much, Wes. You'll sit there and you'll call and ask me for advice about things, and then you say I do a good job at what I do, and that really means a lot to me, especially from all the stuff that you're doing. I mean, you're doing a lot of stuff, and again, when you say that, thank you very much, it means a lot to me that you look at me that way.
Yeah, I'm just a human being like you, and I was nobody but a convicted felon, and I still am. A few months ago, and now I'm suddenly famous. But so I'm turning that around. I'm really, really, even before prison, very good with marketing and sales. And so out of William Steele, we developed now a public relations firm, which is Steele the Spotlight Media. Steele the Spotlight Media. If anybody needs public relations for their projects, inventions, record albums, books, whatever, contact us. And trust me, we'll get the right press release out there for you, the right social media. And I'm working this like it's the stuff that I'm even doing now for myself, learning from people who've been doing it forever and really the best. Every person who interviews me, I say, if you interview me, I'd like you to do two things. One is commit to a second interview, because I love being on. And if they have a good story, I'd like to have them on my show as well, because I have a show, I have an interview show. But the second thing is, give me your number, man. I've been in a cave for 18 years. If I get stuck on marketing, social media, on how to do anything, can I please call you and ask you a few questions? Maybe I'll just ask them over Messenger. And you guys both know that I've done that. I've asked you, how does this work, And so I'm a super quick study. I watch videos on how to do everything all the time. And I'm applying my people skills and my sales and marketing skills, not only on my own stuff, but now we're reaching into helping people. So we also have some incarcerated people we're representing, some people that are wrongfully incarcerated. If you know anybody who's wrongfully incarcerated, reach out. And so one of them is Dave Reinhardt in California. Go to freedavereinhardt.com, freedavereinhardt.com. And you'll read Dave's story. He was wrongfully incarcerated after his family stole millions of dollars from him. And Dr. Leslie Marlin Scholl, who's out of federal prison now, but had his medical license taken, lost his kids, lost everything, millions of dollars, because a con artist stole his money and then entrapped him and put him in prison so that he couldn't press charges on the con artist. So we're helping people that need help. We're also working on a huge racketeering case out in Fresno, California, and that's starting to really get a lot of traction and interest. And we have big things coming up about that. And I'm just grateful to be here, man. I'm glad you guys have, had me on your show. I realize this is a regional show for this town, for Fort Wayne, but my reception here has been great. Everybody I've met's been wonderful, and I'm really grateful to meet, Wesley and yourself and everybody I've met here. So it's been very helpful to me.
We appreciate it. Like I said, I know it's probably a big culture difference from where you've come from and everything else. Again, I said most people, Indiana is a very underrated town. I mean, state, not town, but Fort Wayne is very underrated with a lot of stuff. We got so many talented people, and anyways, I don't want to go on that whole thing, but yeah, you also been recently on TMZ. You said earlier.
I was on TMZ with Harvey Levin, and that interview was about 6 or 7 minutes, and I had Harvey Levin laughing his ass off. But that interview had about 7 million views across all platforms and on Fox TV. Mary, my fiance here, she is a regular contributor now on TMZ. She comments on stories, and matter of fact, I see you have an Aaron Carter shirt on.
Yes.
He recently passed away, and she was one of the person providing commentary on that story.
Yeah, that's crazy, because we ended up talking, and I started looking up your YouTube stuff, and then just started looking at your profile, and then I seen she was on talking about Aaron Carter. I'm like, it's like, that's kind of convenient, because again, connection with Aaron Carter, I interviewed him 2017, and I was going to bring him on this season too, but then he ended up passing.
Oh.
And it's crazy on how people link up together and stuff like that.
Yeah, I saw that video when you met him and you shook his hand and interviewed him real quick before a concert. So Mary is very popular on TMZ. Every time she gets on, it's like we get huge views because we put it up on my stuff, and I'm like, she's a beautiful woman, so so it's all good.
you guys got major support for each other. I can see the love there and support of what you guys both do.
I appreciate it.
It's interesting because you guys both do stuff with TMZ and the whole crime stuff too. And again, you got a podcast. When's that on again?
Yeah, podcast. We put it out on Buzzsprout distributor, which puts it out on iHeartRadio. I don't even know where. There's like a list this long. I looked at it yesterday. Every podcast outlet. It's William Steele True Crime Podcast. So then there's William Steele, True Crime King. There's William Steele. Just all across social media. Inmate to Roommate. Follow everything under that. And please contact me. Best place to reach me, I'm really easy to reach on Facebook Messenger. I mean, I seem to spend way too much time on that thing.
It happens.
So that's the easiest way to get me. If you guys somebody wants to be interviewed on my show, let me know. If you're a celebrity, have an interesting story, law enforcement, former prisoner who came out and turned your life around, authors, contact me. I'm going to have a show right here in the studio. I'm going to have a radio show across the hall.
Oh,
Plus,
sweet.
I have my podcast and my true crime channel.
So you're hitting on all spots for sure. That's a good thing. You got to do that for sure.
And Steele the Spotlight Media, public relations firm.
He's hinting.
Steele the Spotlight Media. You see, all this is a play on the last name and what I used to do for a living. I was a professional jewel and art thief. Steele no more. So William Steele the Spotlight.
This guy is very genius at marketing. I'll be like looking on my Facebook, ding, or he'll send something to me, ding, or I'll put something like has a whole bunch of comments, ding. I like that because when you see something, I mean, I've done it too before. I think everybody's done it before. When there's somebody's talking something about hot, like certain things, like 100 comments, bing, bing, bing. I know she did that a couple times.
I try to comment to everybody. I think that, don't forget, I've been in prison 18 years. I think my right thumb is like 4 times the size of my left one at this stage. It's hurting me like all the time. So I don't know what to do about that, but we'll have to figure that out. Because
just go like ding, ding.
I guess, yeah. Like,
there we go. Yeah, it like I said, it's interesting on how with everything with you. So when is Inmate to Roommate on TV?
Inmate to Roommate's on A&E. If you don't have A&E, go to play.aetv.com. Go to shows, click on Inmate to Roommate. You'll see the free ones that they unlocked. And then it's streaming on the A&E app, and it's on A&E channel. I think it might be between seasons right now, so there was a little bit of downtime, but it's streaming nonstop right now on the app. And again, the unlocked episodes to get a taste for it are at play.aetv.com. Click on shows, click on Inmate to Roommate. You'll see Bill, that's me, acting a little bit silly, trying to make light of a bad situation.
I know after I got done interviewing you, that show that we did like shows ago. I lost count of how many shows we've done, but shows ago, I remember watching it. I was like, oh wow, and then some of the stuff I've seen was like, dang, and how they had the wall with the rules. I'm like, why would they do something like that? Again, like I said, you talked about how they. Did they break any rules at all?
They put it, oh yeah, all the time. They had a big list of rules for me, They claimed they didn't eat candy, but then I went looking for an iron one day, and there was a big stash of candy bars. I wasn't allowed to have ice, but when they had company, they had an ice machine they'd bring out for company. I couldn't eat meat, but the husband would sneak it all the time when Sharna wasn't around, when the wife wasn't around. And then she's having inappropriate conversations with me and a lot of stuff I'm not going to talk about here. But,
I get it, yeah.
But she was just like really weird and obsessed. And then she wrote a fake book review on Amazon for this one. This book here is featured in a whole episode of Inmate to Roommate, my first book.
Huh.
And so she lied and said I sent it to her, which I didn't. She purchased it when I first wrote it years ago, about 2 years ago. And then after the show, she never put a review up all that time. After the episode aired, she put a fake review on Amazon saying, I didn't read it because of too much profanity, waste of money, 1-star review, which screwed my overall ratings up pretty bad. And even her pastor told, that's inappropriate, you didn't read it, you lied, and you should take the review down. And she refuses to take it down. But yet she goes to church every Sunday with a 12-pound Bible under her arm, but put a spiteful review that's affecting my livelihood. So if you believe in First Amendment right and the right for a prisoner to write a book, buy my book, please. Thank you.
Well, yeah, no, that's insane.
Because Shauna threw it in the trash.
That's insane. Like you were telling me before. All right, gotcha. Like you're telling me before, I just can't believe on how they switch things around. They would be unfair doing that stuff, saying that you can't do it, but doing it in front of your face, and that's how do you call that? That's
hypocrisy.
There you go. I just don't get it.
The fans eviscerated them on the internet. Now, I don't necessarily support that, but they brought it on themselves. They eviscerated them. People were telling me, Bill, escape from that house and knock on the door. Tell the warden you want back into the facility.
I see some of those comments. I'm like, wow.
Yes.
And the one thing that I watched too that really kind of got me is how Mark supposedly said that you locked the door and he couldn't get in and he snuck through the window. I'm like, that's not very, you know what I'm talking about, right?
Right, he violated my space. They gave me permission to put the lock because Sharna was visiting me at nighttime and I just felt uncomfortable. So my lawyer said, ask their permission, but you need a lock on that door. Keep her out of the room until you leave.
Yeah.
And so I had their permission. So that big production about, he had to go in the window and didn't have a key, Of course you didn't, because your wife was creeping in. When he went to work, she was knocking 10 o'clock at night wanting to talk. And sometimes dressed inappropriately for, what she was portraying to be a friend and a Christian. I don't feel comfortable like that. I'm engaged. That's number one.
Yeah.
Number two, she's married, and I thought we were friends, and I'm not going to say anything further because I have guidelines.
No,
I have guidelines from the network.
I understand.
What I'm allowed to say.
I'm not trying to get too deep, but again, watch.
Well, put it this way: have you ever seen her?
Yeah.
Okay. There you go. On your worst day, would you?
No. For one, that personality is trash. That's just my opinion. For two, they're too strict, and no, I'm sorry you had to go through that. Again, like I said, so I remember us talking as well. Well, I got to wrap it up, man. Should bring you on another time. This will be my third time actually interviewing him. So, anything to say before we go?
Absolutely. Check out and subscribe, please, to William Steele True Crime on YouTube. Hit subscribe, hit like, share it. Check out my books. They're all available under William Steele on Amazon and WilliamSteeleAuthor.com. And if you need any public relations help to blow your story up, blow your case up, bring attention to your projects, contact us. It's Steele the Spotlight Media. William Steele, True Crime King. Thank you for joining. Thank you, A&E. Thank you, Sharp Entertainment. And my producer, Joe Rooser. Shout out.
All right, see you guys in the next show, which will be the top 15 pro wrestlers. And I'm also doing a shout out to and a tribute to one of my friends that passed away, Jamie Johnson. Miss you. Watch top 15 wrestlers. Up next on The Dose.